So in trying to strip away the two campaign, the Obama-Biden campaign and the McCain-Palin campaigns approaches to solving the problems facing us, I said the last subject remaining was security. So security and foreign policy differences between the Democratic Obama and the Republican McCain approach. So we have to get back to that fundamental division in our country between the Republicans and the Democrats and their worldview about human nature. Where the human nature, from a conservative's point of view, you have to assume the worst of it. And in the Democratic assumptions, there seems to be assumptions that we can work for the common good. And obviously the answer is somewhere out there. And probably there's humans can do both. How you design a system to manage people, whether you want to base it entirely on negative assumptions or some positive assumptions, that's the question. So in a McCain worldview, Republican worldview, in my opinion, there's some stereotypes also of what Democrats think they think. So the Democrat thinks that the Republican or the conservative point of view is a point of view rooted in suspicion of other countries and sort of overly aware only about the United States and not really of the rest of the world, or if they're aware of it, fundamentally hostile to it. So that's sort of a stereotype of the conservative thinking. And then it's sort of like the cowboy approach to foreign policy. Teddy Roosevelt or George Bush, dare I put the two in the same sentence, starting their little wars that are elective. And George Bush has more company than that if you look at the Indian Wars, I suppose, or even the Civil War. But at any rate, the Democratic caricature is that the Democrats are UN wussies and that we will not stand up for the United States, will back down and will compromise, and will end up sipping French products in a cafe, wearing a beret and smoking a non-filter gypsy cigarette or something. So obviously we've got to peel away all that crap and say, what are we really going to get in the next 4 years from McCain-Palin worldview and the Obama worldview? Now, McCain again typifies exactly the stereotype in many ways of conservative Republican thinking, and his demand that we come back from the Iraq War as a quote-unquote victor. Now, to be a victor, we have to decide who we are attacking. Who did we get victory over? Victory implies a defeat of someone else. So obviously they're going to say they defeated Al-Qaeda, but Al-Qaeda didn't exist in Iraq. So in my opinion, victory in Iraq isn't really even real. What it's really about is American prestige. So American prestige first is what McCain is saying, before all else. Not American honor, because honor could come from saying, you know what, we screwed up, we're sorry. That could be honorable. No, this is American prestige. I'm not suggesting to take that position. I'm just trying to illustrate the difference between the two. So with the McCain candidacy, you're going to get a more confrontational foreign policy that we can overall assume, us versus them. With an Obama-Biden foreign policy, I think the world becomes a much more complicated place. So you look at South America, you have the development of a lot of populist, left-wing, pro-business, compared to traditional left-wing, or progressive leaderships in Brazil, Argentina, Chile. Bolivia has the first Indian blood president. It's always been dominated by a European white elite. And so there's a sweeping change there. Then it would play extremely well with an Obama-Biden ticket. And we haven't had too many wars in South America. And the key issue in the Americas is narco trafficking. And I believe the best way to deal with that is to legalize and regulate narcotics. That'll eliminate all those horrible massacres in Mexico. There won't be any money to be made because it's not illegal. A normal 7-Eleven will have just as strong a competitive advantage as 50 guys with AK-47s. It will vaporize the drug war to bring it into a medical system. I don't think you're going to see that from Republicans, and I'm not even sure you'll see it from Obama. But that's our number one security issue in Latin America. And as far as the development of U.S. and South American trade and strategic relationships, the present trend favors an Obama-Biden ticket on the governmental level. And on the private enterprise level, you'll see there's lots of corporations lined up for both tickets. It's not the oil and gas industry is obviously lined up on the Republican side. So then we look at Africa. Obviously, an Obama presidency would make the U.S. have extremely close relationships with Africa, extremely friendly relationships with Africa. There's no having a candidate of Kenyan descent, obviously, would be such a source of pride and for Africa. So not all of them, of course, would view him as a native son, but it would be, I doubt we're going to have any major problems with Africa drifting away from the U.S. orbit with an Obama-Biden presidency. And then you have Europe. Obama's clearly extremely popular in Europe. Very excited. No European country has yet elected a multi-ethnic or non-white president, and in fact it showed that we're doing better than France, for example, in our own representation of people of other backgrounds in our government. So people are excited about that. Sarkozy was excited about that. And then turning to Asia, well, with Obama's connection with Hawaii and Indonesia, I don't really know that Obama brings more to the table for Asia than McCain, other than I personally find him to be a more energetic administrator, but that is, I don't have any evidence to bring to the table about Asia. So the real question boils down to what about our hardcore or potentially hardcore adversaries, China, India, Russia, and Islamic fundamentalism. So you can see what would happen the next 4 years under an Obama presidency is the likelihood of attack from abroad versus McCain certainly would not increase, but it's a bit of a minefield to speculate as to whether to have a multilateral friendly orientation or a U.S. prestige first presentation. But I would say in terms of risk assessment, McCain would be more likely to get us into armed confrontation unnecessarily than Barack Obama. And Barack Obama, some might argue, might be too concessionary for U.S. interests. And that might be where your risk-reward slider ends. So I hope that was of some use.